Welcome to an in-depth look at investments and investment strategies. My name is Derek Watts, and today we'll be taking a look at the best way to maximize your investment outcomes in an increasingly volatile marketplace. In a world where the unexpected has come to be expected, the following of conventional wisdom has increasingly become a dangerous practice. Even the most seasoned investors, financial advisors, and investment managers have struggled to get consistent positive returns for their investments. Trust in historically bulletproof institutions such as auditing and consulting firms that used to be the safety net for questionable corporate practices has also eroded with multiple scandals in recent times. The questions most people ask themselves nowadays are: why are consistent returns so difficult to attain? Why is the practice of picking portfolios based on analyst reports and market research not yielding the results it used to in the past? Why are we seeing an investment manager perform extremely well one year just to underperform in the next? What do I need to do to outperform the erosion of capital through inflation over a period? A strategy based on emotion or historical returns can be a recipe for disaster. Within the investments field, three elements can typically compromise investments. Fraudulent activities such as with Steinhoff, Enron, and Bernie Madoff. Good intent and bad execution, as was the case in the Takara pension fund saga. External events over which we have no control, such as the recent case with Tongaat Hulett. We all know that a successful investment strategy is one that begins with a solid end goal in mind and continues to adapt and change as the world changes and moves. Investing your money in a blockbuster video store 30 years ago was a fantastic investment for the future. Buying one today would be total lunacy. The other piece of wisdom we all understand is that no investment strategy is without risk, and the best way to mitigate this risk is through the use of a dynamic investment portfolio that moves with the market. The difficulty is that, of course, no predictive model can be perfect, but through a proven track record and a team of dedicated professionals, the spikes and the troughs can be equalized as much as possible to give a consistent upward trajectory. So what can be done to give clients the least bumpy ride possible? Let's hear from an expert to give us an insight into what the solutions might be as we speak to Paul Nixon, who's the head of technical marketing in Momentum Investments. Paul, welcome to the studio and thanks for joining us. As investors, I guess when the markets are choppy, we look for safety.
Yeah, so Mike Tyson actually gave a very good bit of investment advice a few years ago, and it was before a fight, and the journalist was trying to get a bit of a reaction out of him and was saying how his opponent had this plan to kind of unsettle him and to run him around and make him tired. And Mike just said, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And as investors, we're going to get punched in the mouth, and that's when the fear is going to set in. And we're going to try and take control of that situation by changing the plan. And really, in these situations, we just need to stay invested.
Paul, we do hear that a lot about time in the market and avoiding market timing. But what about some practical evidence here?
Yeah, so at Momentum Investments, we analysed the investment behaviour of nearly 18,000 investors over a decade, 2008 to 2018. And we found that investors actually impose a behavior tax on their portfolios of around 1%. Now, behavior tax is just a lower return. And just to put that in perspective, that's about 22% in fund value over a period of 10 years, assuming the markets give a 10% return. So it is substantial.
Why do we do that as investors?
Yes, we try and change the plan. We switch because it hurts. Losses hurt, and even paper losses in a statement hurt. So we found that 64% of the time when investors changed the plan or switched, they were chasing past performance, but as it turns out, this was more of a fear factor than a greed factor. So, and in fact, investors had 8 times the switch itch or urge to change the plan when their portfolios performed between 1% and 5% when they performed at 15% or more. And we know what happens when we change the plan or switch. We incur this behavior tax.
Now that covers bear and choppy markets, but what about the growth? Where's that going to come from? I mean, surely as investors we need so-called sexy stuff, hedge funds, private equity, or some exposure to the next, fintech explosion.
Yeah, so I mean, in rugby they've got the saying that you need to earn the right to go wide, and in investments there's the same principle. So earning the right to go wide is basically just making sure that you have the fundamentals or basics in place before you play an expansive game. So, our research actually found that having a well-diversified, outcomes-based solution actually gave investors on average a better experience and actually a better outcome. So I think, if you've got a view on fintech or cryptocurrency, absolutely go for it, but make sure that you've got the basics in place. You've got sufficient emergency funds, and the outcomes-based solution is forming the bedrock of your portfolio.
Basically, I mean, as South Africans, what should we be doing to create wealth?
So I think there's two big misconceptions there. The first is that you need to have a high income to save, and that's absolutely not the case. You don't need to be the next, or to wait to be the next CEO of a company. Start saving as soon as you possibly can, even if it's a little or very, very small amount. Doing small things consistently over a period of time make big things. I think the second one is, people think that investing or putting money into a bond every month is creating wealth. It's actually not. Wealth comes from financial assets, not necessarily assets like your property. So, start getting into the market as soon as possible, and stay invested.
So, Paul, basically your advice would be to stay the course, stay focused, and stick with the plan.
It sounds like great advice, Derek.
Thank you for being with us. Right, that certainly gives us some solid food for thought. Investments require a solid focus on the goals, and it seems the best approach is a structured approach. Thank you all for joining us this week. We hope that we have shed some light on your questions, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Cheers for now.
Life is unpredictable. Today's certainty can become tomorrow's speed bump. Even the best of intentions can sometimes go off course, and things can go wrong. Investments are a lot like life, and the best way to hedge your bets is to invest in your future with a partner that has fine-tuned its approach and developed the tools to help navigate the speed bumps. The Momentum Investments outcome-based investing philosophy harnesses a proven toolkit within a well-diversified framework to construct portfolios that speak to investor needs, with well-defined characteristics to navigate the twists and turns in life and in investments. Our goal is to help you stay the course and reach your desired outcome. The outcome-based investing philosophy and our well-managed portfolios are the GPS that will help guide you on your journey to success.